I was I was talking to a couple of my female friends. I just talked to another one about an issue with dating and black women owning up to dating thugs or bad boys or whatever, and they can't do it. I've always noticed that they can't do it. I give them the arguments, I give them the double standards that black men have to follow versus what white men follow, and they always excuse it by, oh, you're going after the wrong female. And I'm saying, no, no, no. I'm talking about in general. I'm not looking for nobody. I'm not looking for anybody. And, they always want to backtrack. It's not all. And I think I probably have to talk to some hood chicks about the issue. Because lately I've been talking to, I guess, suburban chicks. And this girl who used to go to my school, it was a predominantly white institution. And so usually, black students or black girls, they may not typically fall for the thug or the bad boy, but they like thuggish dudes. They like, at least a good cross between thuggish or athletic, thuggish and athletic. And so, they'll probably want like a dude who's like 6'2", regularly works out, wears designer clothes, shit like that. And it's really not even any better if you're a black student in a predominantly black school. I mean, not predominantly white institution. Because even in there, black nerds, I don't think they are that respected. And I was trying to tell my friend who is a biracial girl. Well, she claims black, but she's super light skinned. And it's like, yeah, okay. I just kind of leave it at that. But because it's funny, when I first met her, she told me she was mixed. And then when I met her the second time, she's now telling me that she's all the way black. And I'm like, whatever. But anyways, so, and her boyfriend is like a soft, nerdy dude. But, but in her argument, in my argument, I kind of counted that as the exception, But anyways, back to the argument. I was talking about to her about black nerds, and even in white institutions, there is still a level of blackness that black men have to live up to, because truth be told, it's not the black students in predominantly white institutions, they're not really tokens. And we've known that a lot. Many of these black males are here because of mostly sports. They're here for to play basketball or football or whatever. And I've seen this many times to where I'm seeing high school prodigies getting college, private college tours with the coach, and they're like, yeah, and you in this room, you get to chill out, relax, and you get to play video games, and here's the cafe, and we got a Starbucks, and we have free pizza on Fridays and shit like that. And I was, my friend, the light-skinned chick, she was telling me that, that there's, that black nerds are, respected and wanted in our school. And I was like, nah. And then she brought up that, there's a lot of black nerds who play Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And, they don't care what other people think of them. And my thing was that, in bringing that up, if you're they're grown ass men. Even I don't even stoop that low to play freaking Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. At school. Like there's some things that black nerds do that they just need to be conscious of. Like, if you're trying to get it in, don't embarrass yourself with some lame cornball shit like that. That's something that black nerds need to stop doing, like making themselves um, less attractive than they already are. Um, and I was telling her that a lot of these dudes, they're not respected by women, and um, women aren't checking for them, and if they have a girlfriend, they're nobody I envy. They're no chick that I want. And she hasn't messaged me back, so I must have hit her good. Cause I'm like, and the popular black chicks, they're not talking to them. They're not inviting them to shit. Granted, you may see a couple nerds hanging out with the cool kids every now and then, maybe to work on a project or whatever. But I'm saying in general, when I don't see any attractive girls playing Yu-Gi-Oh with them, I don't see that shit. I don't see that shit at all. But a lot of black women, man, it's really hard to prove their point on what they like, because it ends up being a freaking it's not them, it's you, and they always want to make it seem like you're overgeneralizing, and I'm like, it's what women want, and then they will try to play both sides, and it's like you can't twist the argument, any more that it needs to be. I'm telling you that women like aggression, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but they like it when it's not really controllable, and you have these guys who can control their anger, and they push women around, and then you think it's cool, but when he gives you that busted lip, now you're talking about pressing charges and getting a restraining order and all that stuff. See, they don't want to take accountability for that. Just like that goofy chick off the black chat, where she's asking for men to tell her to shut up, and I'm like, any minute now she's going to be the type of chick that's going to be barefoot and pregnant with a black guy. And a lot of these women think it's a game. A lot of these females, they don't think ahead, and they want these boys to be hyper aggressive and masculine and all that shit, and they get mad when these boys are no longer fighting other boys, and they turn the aggression onto them. You got these boys worrying about fucking swag and wearing skinny jeans and shit. And I just, heard a story about some Romeo Juliet type of suicide where this black girl killed herself, and like the black and her boyfriend feel some type of way. He doesn't appreciate, people blaming him for her suicide, and so this nigga kills himself. I don't know what the situation was. I saw a post, it was vague. I saw a video, it was vague. And, I'm like, yeah, we're seeing this. I can't say it's a pandemic or epidemic, because I've only seen, but I have to stop cutting myself off. But so far, there's been like 3 suicides, 3 viral suicides of black men, just killing themselves over women. you had the San Bernardino school shooting, murder suicide. You have the Steve Stevens situation, and you have this black teen killed himself over a bitch. And by the looks of these dudes, they weren't soft. And I'm not saying that these women asked for it, but I'm just saying, this whole drive for liking bad boys is going to crash hard on black women. It's going to. It's crashing hard on them right now. And I don't know what more black men have to do or say to get women to change up. But then again, there are a lot of on point black men or black men who are it's not just about getting your shit together. It's also about getting your mind together. I'm not talking about metaphysics or shit like that. I'm just talking about being level-headed. I'm talking about dudes who can accept rejection or accept a breakup. Because it seems nowadays dudes can't accept that shit. A dude hears something he doesn't like from a female and he just runs himself off to a cliff. I think a lot of dudes just need to chill with the relationship shit and not worry about entertaining these women. Yeah, we can call them out on their fuckery, but pursuing them is just too much, man. It's too much stress for these dudes. I'm seeing too many dudes stressing out over women. And sometimes I even stress myself, and I have to catch myself and realize that, hey, man, I don't even need to be worrying about this shit. These women, they're not hitting me up. I don't have to worry about it. Like, okay, they don't want to hit me up, that's fine. They can hit up that other dude who wants to knock them up for whatever. Sometimes I have to count my blessings and saying, hey, you're a childless man. You're doing good for yourself. You could do better, but you're in a better situation than most people. So a lot of dudes need to count their blessings and shit. But for level-headed black men, you can't hold black men accountable for what they're like, and they will make excuses, and they'll eventually blame you at the end, even though you didn't do anything. They'll blame you for not being visible or knowing the signs or not being accountable, and I feel like there's a vagueness on what accountability means in the black community, because I had a friend, she told me, like, you don't hold yourself accountable. And I guess she was in referencing that, I was mad and I talked too much about the issues I have with black women. And I'll admit, at times I do overreact, and I have to catch myself and be like, it's not a big deal. But she was right. Yeah, I can't even really argue with it. I was going to argue with it, but I was like, I was just thinking to myself, like, I have nothing to come back with it. And a lot of women. No, I was about to repeat myself. But accountability, man. I feel like when it comes to accountability, black men need to stop being emotional. But black women can also start dating better or wiser or just not at all. You know, you can't ask for black men to be better, and then I'm still seeing fuckery about, oh, we're it's seeing fuckery like black media promoting love and hip hop. You know, I'm reading articles. If I see an article from Ebony Essence, Afropunk, or Belevity, and you know, you see, you know, they're like, this is what pisses me off. Like, they'll have an article about like domestic violence or hypermasculinity or intimate dating violence, and then next thing you know, you see them gossiping over Love and Hip Hop or some other VH1 show, and I'm like, make up your mind on whether or not you like this, that you like abuse or not. You can't ask for men to be better, and then to a degree, like you're bored with television and acting like, oh, all these relationships are perfect. What's to do? I think I'll cut the video right now, and I don't have much to talk about, but that's really all I have to say.